Commander Eliza Morgan stood straight and tall in the massive round room of the Galactic Council. The ceiling reached so high it seemed to disappear. Lights from 100 different worlds glowed around her. She was the only human in a sea of alien faces. The motion to restrict human expansion to 2 new systems per decade passes with majority approval, announced the Corellian overseer. His blue skin wrinkled as he spoke, showing his great age. Additionally, the Council requires that all human advancements in artificial intelligence must be submitted for review before implementation. Eliza bit her lip to stop herself from speaking out. This was the 3rd new limit placed on humanity this year alone. She nodded stiffly and made notes on her tablet. The aliens around her turned to other business, as if they hadn't just cut off humanity's growth for the next 20 years. Later that day, Eliza sat in a secure room beneath the Earth Embassy. Dr. Peter Campbell paced back and forth, his gray hair wild from running his hands through it too many times. "They're doing it again," Peter said, throwing a stack of data chips onto the table. "These aren't just random rules. Look at these patterns." He tapped the screen to show a chart. "Every time we make progress in a field, they create a new rule to slow us down. And look here, Corellian ships have been spotted near our research stations just before they announce each new restriction." Eliza studied the evidence. "You're saying they're stealing our ideas, then stopping us from using them." "Exactly," Peter said. "For 50 years, they've treated us like children. Meanwhile, they take our advances in secret and share them among the inner council species." The door opened, and 5 more people entered, Earth's top leaders. President Sofia Martinez led them, her face serious. "Show me everything," the president said. For 3 hours, they reviewed the evidence. Peter showed how council ships visited Earth outposts just before new breakthroughs. He showed council species suddenly using technology similar to human designs. Most damning, he revealed secret council messages discussing how to keep the human problem under control. President Martinez finally stood up. "I've seen enough. The council has lied to us since first contact. They promised partnership, but gave us only limits and lies. What do we do?" asked General Frank Bishop, his hands folded tightly on the table. "We leave," the president said simply. "We withdraw from the Galactic Council." The room fell silent. "Madam President," Eliza said carefully, "no species has ever left the Council. The economic impacts alone could be devastating. More devastating than being held back forever." Martins asked. "They fear our potential. That's why they keep us down." After much debate, they voted. The decision was made. Earth would withdraw from the Galactic Council. 3 days later, Eliza stood again in the Great Council chamber. This time, all eyes were on her. "Representatives of the Galactic Council," she began, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "For 50 years, humanity has participated in good faith. We have followed your rules, contributed our discoveries, and respected your traditions." She paused, looking at the faces around her, some curious, some bored, some openly hostile. "Today, by unanimous decision of Earth's government, I deliver this formal notice. Humanity withdraws from the Galactic Council, effective immediately." The chamber erupted. Some aliens jumped to their feet, shouting. Others sat in shocked silence. The Corellian overseer banged his ceremonial staff for order. "Ambassador Morgan," he said when the noise died down, "this is merely emotional human volatility. You cannot survive alone in the galaxy." Eliza smiled slightly. "That is where you're wrong, Overseer. We don't need the Council, and I think you'll soon discover just how much the Council needed us." She turned and walked out of the chamber, past the guards and through the grand doors. Behind her, the voices grew louder as the Council realized that humanity was serious. For the first time in recorded galactic history, a species had chosen independence over Council membership. No one knew what would happen next, but one thing was certain: the galaxy would never be the same. 6 months passed since Earth left the Galactic Council. In that time, the 7 human colonies across different star systems joined together to form the United Earth Federation. Admiral Ryan Collins stood on the bridge of the newly built ship UEF Defender. It was bigger and faster than any ship humans had been allowed to build under Council rules. "Admiral, all systems are ready for testing," said Lieutenant Grace Wilson. Ryan nodded. "Begin the test sequence." The ship hummed with power as its engines fired up. On screens around the bridge, numbers showed that the ship was performing twice as well as expected. Ryan smiled. Without Council limits, human engineers had finally been able to build what they had only dreamed of before. Far away on the planet New Montana, mining engineer Kate Lawson climbed out of a deep tunnel. Her suit was covered in blue dust from the rare mineral called stellarite. The Council had always told humans this mineral was too dangerous to mine. Kate wiped dust from her helmet and looked at the container in her hand. Her team had just extracted enough stellarite to power shields for an entire fleet. "How's it looking?" asked her partner, Ben Harris. "Better than we hoped," Kate said. The Council lied about the danger. With the right equipment, stellarite is no more dangerous than coal was to our ancestors. Ben grinned. "And 10 times more useful. The lab says our first shield prototype stopped everything they fired at it." Meanwhile, at Carter Research Station orbiting Jupiter, Dr. Luis Ortiz watched as his team activated the Nova drive for the first time. This new faster-than-light engine would let ships travel twice as far using half the fuel of standard drives. "It works," shouted his assistant, Diane Foster, as the test probe disappeared and reappeared exactly where they had planned. The Council said this was impossible. Luis nodded. "They said a lot of things were impossible. I think they just didn't want us going too far or too fast." Before they could celebrate more, alarms sounded throughout the station. Luis rushed to the communications center. "What's happening?" he asked. The communications officer looked up with a worried face. "Pirates from the Scrath Dominion are attacking our colony on Proxima Centauri IV. They must think we're weak now that we left the Council." Within hours, Admiral Collins and the UEF Defender led a response fleet to Proxima Centauri. When they arrived, they found 3 Scrath ships firing on the human settlement. The pirates had expected easy targets without Council protection. They were wrong. "All ships engage defensive pattern Delta," ordered Collins. "Show them what happens when you attack a human world." The UEF ships moved with speed and precision the Scrath had never seen. The Defender fired new weapons that cut through pirate shields like they weren't even there. Within minutes, 2 pirate ships were disabled, and the third was retreating. On the edge of the system, a small Council observation ship watched in silence. The Council had sent it to see how humans would fare without their protection. The observers could hardly believe what they saw. "The humans have advanced this much in only 6 months," one observer said. "The Council told us they would struggle without our guidance." Back on Earth, President Martinez received the news of the victory. She also received a message from the Galactic Council. They offered to reconsider Earth's standing if humans would share their new technologies. "Send our response," Martinez told her staff. "The United Earth Federation respectfully declines the offer. We are no longer interested in Council approval." As Martinez looked out her window at the stars, she thought about how much had changed. Humans were building better ships, finding new resources, and protecting themselves. They were truly independent for the first time, and the rest of the galaxy was starting to notice. 2 years had passed since humanity left the Galactic Council. The United Earth Federation was growing stronger each day. Ships moved freely between human colonies, carrying goods and people without Council taxes or inspections. On the distant planet Teller Prime, Queen Zanara of the Tellurian Empire sat with her advisors. The Tellurians were tall, with purple skin and 4 arms. They had been Council members for over 300 years. "The humans prosper without the Council," said the Queen. "Their trade has increased. Their technology advances quickly, and the Council does nothing but send angry messages." Her chief advisor nodded. Perhaps we should follow their example, Your Majesty. 1 month later, the council chamber was in chaos again. The Tellurian ambassador stood tall, all 4 arms raised for attention. The Tellurian Empire hereby withdraws from the Galactic Council, he announced. We cite the human precedent in our declaration. The council leaders were shocked. First humans, now Tellurians. Who would leave next? On the council factory world of Delos, alien workers watched videos smuggled from human space. The videos showed human factories where robots did the dangerous work. They showed human workers with good homes and free time. On Delos, workers lived in small rooms and worked 12 hours each day. Humans treat their people better, whispered Karn, a Delosi worker, to his friends. Why can't we have what they have? The next day, thousands of workers refused to work. They marched in the streets, demanding better conditions. Council ships tried to block the protests, but there were too many workers. Meanwhile, in the science labs of Planet Merit, Dr. Frail carefully packed her research notes. She was a Merite, a species known for their medical knowledge. For years, she had worked on ways to help species with short lives live longer. But the council kept telling her to stop. Some species should not live too long, they said. It would upset the balance. Dr. Frail did not believe this. She had contacted human scientists in secret. Tonight, she would leave for human space. 2 days later, she arrived at Earth's medical center. She showed her research to Dr. Sam Rodriguez. This is amazing, Sam said, looking at her notes. With this, we could help so many species live longer, healthier lives. Why would the council stop this? Control, Dr. Frail said simply. Long-lived species leave the council. They stay in power because other species die sooner. They don't want that to change. On the human colony world of Harmony, Director Jason Howard of Federation Intelligence received an urgent message. His team had found evidence of a council plot to attack human settlements. Jason immediately called President Martinez. Madam President, we have proof the council is planning to sabotage our colony on Alpha Centauri. Do we know which council species are involved? She asked. That's the interesting part, Jason replied. It's only the top-tier species. When we shared this information with representatives from mid-tier council worlds, they were shocked. Many of them didn't know about the plan. This news spread quickly. 3 smaller council species, the Volari, the Kintari, and the Drex, began secret talks with human diplomats. They wanted to know more about life outside the council. The overseer of the council called an emergency meeting. We must stop this spread of rebellion, he told the inner circle. First humans, then Tellurians, now others question our leadership. We have ruled the galaxy for 10,000 years. We cannot lose control now. But it was already too late. The seeds of change were growing. More species were looking at humanity's example. Freedom from council rules was a powerful idea. And ideas, once released, are impossible to contain. The galaxy was changing, and the council could not stop it. 3 years after humans left the Galactic Council, a terrible accident happened. On the council world of Nexus Prime, the main antimatter production facility had a problem. Alarms blared as workers ran to safety. The containment field is failing, shouted Chief Engineer Grell. His green skin turned pale with fear. We need to follow the emergency plan. But there was no good plan. The council had ignored human safety rules, calling them too careful and a waste of resources. Now the containment field was breaking down. If it failed completely, the explosion would destroy half the planet. News of the crisis reached Earth quickly. President Martinez called an emergency meeting. The council facility is going to fail, she told her advisors. Millions will die. Admiral Collins frowned. The council has been hostile to us. Why should we help? The president looked at him steadily. Because we can. Those are innocent people, regardless of their leaders' actions. Within hours, a fleet of human ships headed toward Nexus Prime. They carried special containment technology that the Council had rejected years ago as unnecessary. Commander Olivia Rice led the mission. Her ship, the UEF Mercy, arrived first at the failing facility. "This is Commander Rice of the United Earth Federation." She radioed to the panicking Council station. "We have containment technology that can help. Please allow us to dock immediately." The Council workers were surprised but desperate. They quickly allowed the human ships to dock. Human teams in special suits rushed into the facility. They set up their containment devices around the failing reactor. Council engineers watched in amazement as the humans worked quickly and calmly in a situation they had thought hopeless. "The field is stabilizing," announced a human technician after 2 hours of tense work. "We've got it under control." Across Nexus Prime, people watched their screens in disbelief. Humans who had left the Council had come back to save them. The Council had always said humans were selfish and dangerous. Now they saw the truth with their own eyes. Meanwhile, on the human colony world of Liberty, something unusual was happening. Ships from 12 different Council species landed without permission. They carried diplomats and business leaders who wanted to talk directly with humans. "We come seeking trade agreements," said the Arcturian ambassador to Governor Lisa Clark. "Our Council leaders forbid it, but we wish to work with humans anyway." The governor was surprised. "The Council won't approve." The ambassador smiled slightly. "We no longer care what the Council approves. We have seen how you live without their rules. We want the same freedom." Back on Harmonious Prime, the Council's homeworld, the leaders held an emergency meeting. The Corellian overseer looked angry as he addressed the group. "Humans have interfered in Council affairs by coming to Nexus Prime," he said. "They only helped to make us look bad." But many Council members disagreed. "They saved millions of lives," said the representative from Borgelia. "With technology we rejected. Perhaps we should reconsider our policies." For the first time in thousands of years, Council members openly questioned their leaders. The perfect unity they had maintained was breaking apart. On Earth, President Martinez received a secret message from the Arcturian worlds, one of the oldest Council members. They officially recognized the United Earth Federation as a sovereign power, separate from the Council. It was the first such recognition from a major Council species. "The galaxy is changing," Martinez told her cabinet. "Not through war, but through example. We showed there's another way to live among the stars." The old order was crumbling, and it had all started with humanity's decision to walk away. 5 years had passed since humanity walked away from the Galactic Council. The once mighty Council was falling apart. More and more species were either leaving completely or ignoring Council rules. The Corellians, who had led the Council for thousands of years, were angry. In a private meeting room on Harmonious Prime, High Overseer Jadolm pounded his fist on the table. "We cannot allow this to continue," he said to his inner circle. "If species can simply walk away, everything we built will collapse." His chief military commander, General Vex, nodded. "We must make an example of someone. Show what happens to those who defy the Council." The Corellians decided to attack the Volari Confederation. The Volari were among the first to openly trade with humans after the split. Their 3 worlds were rich in resources, but had a small defense fleet. 3 days later, without warning, a Council battle group appeared in Volari space. They started bombing the main Volari spaceport on Volari Prime. "This is Council enforcement," General Vex announced to the frightened Volari. "Your illegal trade with humans ends now. Submit to Council authority or face destruction." The Volari defenders fought bravely, but they were outnumbered. As their defenses failed, the Volari Prime Minister sent a desperate message into space. It was aimed at the nearest human outpost. "This is Prime Minister Thela of the Volari Confederation. We are under attack by Council forces. They say it is because we traded with humans. Please help us if you can." The message reached Admiral Collins while he was inspecting a new defense station. He immediately contacted Earth. "The Volari helped us when others wouldn't," he told President Martinez. We can't abandon them now. The president didn't hesitate. Launch rescue fleet Delta immediately. The Volari are our friends. 8 hours later, human ships appeared near Volari Prime. The Council fleet was still bombarding the planet, destroying cities and farms. This is Admiral Ryan Collins of the United Earth Federation. He transmitted to the Council ships. Cease your attack on Volari Prime immediately. General Vex laughed when he received the message. We have 15 warships. You have only 7. Leave now, humans, or be destroyed with your Volari friends. Admiral Collins didn't reply with words. Instead, the human ships moved into an attack formation that the Council had never seen before. Before General Vex could react, 3 of his ships lost power completely. What's happening? He demanded. The humans have some kind of energy weapon, his science officer said, voice shaking. It's shutting down our systems without damaging the ships. The Battle of Volari Prime lasted less than 30 minutes. The human ships disabled most of the Council fleet without destroying them. Only 2 Council ships were actually shot down when they tried to keep bombing the planet. The rest were left floating in space, unable to fight or flee. Admiral Collins transmitted one final message to General Vex. The people of Volari are under United Earth Federation protection now. Take your ships and go. Once we restore your power, if you return, you won't be disabled. You'll be destroyed. News of the battle spread quickly throughout the galaxy. Everyone had expected the mighty Council forces to crush both the Volari and any humans who tried to help. Instead, human ships had defeated a much larger Council fleet using technology no one knew they had. Back on Earth, Professor Alan Daniels of the Earth Diplomatic Corps had an idea. He met with President Martinez to share his vision. The old Council is dying, he said, but the galaxy still needs some form of cooperation. I propose we create something new, the Galactic Cooperative. Unlike the Council, all members would have equal standing. Technology would be shared, not controlled. President Martinez liked the idea. How many species do you think would join? Professor Daniels smiled. I've already received unofficial interest from 7 former Council species. They're ready for something new. The seeds of a new galactic order were being planted. 8 years had passed since humanity left the Galactic Council. The galaxy looked very different now. The once powerful council that ruled 27 species now had only 9 members left. The Corellians struggled to keep even these few loyal. Meanwhile, the human-started Galactic Cooperative was growing quickly. 14 different species had joined, working together as equals. Unlike the Council, the cooperative shared technology and resources freely. On the beautiful planet Ilara, representatives from all cooperative species gathered to open a new science center. Bright banners flew in the warm breeze as crowds watched the ceremony. Dr. Nicole Bauman, Earth's leading language expert, stood at the center's entrance with President Martinez. They watched as scientists from many worlds entered their new home. When we left the Council, I never imagined this, Dr. Bauman said quietly. So many species working together by choice, not force. President Martinez nodded. Freedom is powerful, more powerful than the Council ever understood. Dr. Bauman had recently made an important discovery. For years, the Council had claimed the bird-like ethereal species could barely think or communicate. They were classified as pre-sentient, and their world was used for mining by Council companies. But Dr. Bauman had studied ethereal communication and found something amazing. The ethereal didn't speak with sounds like most species. They used complex light patterns from special feathers on their bodies. The Council deliberately mistranslated their language. Dr. Bauman told a group of cooperative scientists, the ethereal aren't simple creatures. They have a rich culture and deep philosophy. The Council hid this because ethereal ideas about freedom and equality were considered dangerous. The cooperative immediately sent representatives to the ethereal homeworld. They established proper communication and invited the ethereal to join as equals. The bird-like beings were overjoyed to be finally understood. This discovery made many people question what else the Council had lied about over the centuries. Far away at the edge of known space, a major cooperative research station orbited an uninhabited planet. Scientists from 12 species worked together, studying strange energy patterns coming from a nearby nebula. Without warning, a fleet of Corellian ships appeared near the station. It was the largest attack fleet seen since the Battle of Volari Prime. "Attention Research Station," came the message from the Corellian commander. "This facility violates Council territory claims. Surrender now or be destroyed." The station's defense officer, Lieutenant Gregory Maxwell, remained calm. He activated the station's new defensive system and sent a message back. "Corellian Fleet, this is a peaceful research facility in unclaimed space. We have no quarrel with you. However, we are protected. You have one chance to leave peacefully." The Corellian commander laughed. "Protected? I see no defense fleet. This is your final warning." The Corellian ships moved forward and charged their weapons. Lieutenant Maxwell pressed a single button on his console. Suddenly, a field of energy surrounded the entire station. When the Corellian ships fired, their weapons' energy simply disappeared into the field without effect. "What is this?" demanded the Corellian commander. "This is human shield technology, shared with all cooperative members," Maxwell replied calmly. "Your weapons cannot harm us. We will not fire back, but neither will we allow you to threaten peaceful research." For 6 hours, the Corellians tried everything they had against the shield. Nothing worked. Finally, with their weapon reserves depleted, they had no choice but to withdraw. News of this defensive victory spread quickly throughout the galaxy. The mighty Corellian fleet had been defeated without a single shot being fired in return. It was the final blow to the Council's reputation as a military power. In a private meeting on Harmonious Prime, the remaining Council species argued bitterly. "We cannot compete with their technology," said one representative. "Perhaps," said another, "it is time to consider joining the cooperative ourselves." The old order was not just changing, it was ending. A decade had passed since humanity walked away from the Galactic Council. The galaxy had transformed in ways no one could have predicted. The Galactic Cooperative now included 22 species, all working together as equals. Even 3 newly discovered civilizations had joined, species that the Council would have deemed unready for space travel. On Harmonious Prime, the original Council chamber sat mostly empty. The grand room that once held representatives from 27 worlds now echoed with the voices of just 5 species. The Corellians and their closest allies clung to the past, refusing to accept the new reality. Earth had changed too. The United Earth Federation now had colonies on 30 worlds across 15 star systems. Human ships traveled freely throughout the galaxy, welcomed almost everywhere they went. In New Geneva, Earth's diplomatic capital, a special meeting was about to take place. President Martinez, serving her final year in office, waited in the Earth Tower's grand meeting room. The large windows showed the beautiful city below and mountains in the distance. "Madam President, your visitor has arrived," announced her assistant. Martinez nodded. "Sent him in." The doors opened, and Overseer Zhtaln of the Corellians entered slowly. Once the most powerful being in the galaxy, he now looked old and tired. His blue skin had faded to a pale gray, and he walked with the help of a staff. "Thank you for agreeing to meet with me," Zhtaln said quietly. "Please, sit," Martinez offered. "Would you like some refreshment?" They sat across from each other, former enemies now face to face. For a moment, neither spoke. "10 years ago, you surprised us all," Zhtaln finally said. "No species had ever left the Council. We thought it was impossible." Martinez smiled slightly. "Humans have a history of doing the impossible." "Indeed." The old Corellian looked out at the city. "We believed control was necessary for stability. We thought without our rules, the galaxy would fall into chaos. And instead, freedom has created more stability than we ever achieved through control." Zhtaln sighed deeply. It has taken me a decade to understand this. Others in the council still refuse to see it. Outside the Earth Tower, citizens went about their daily lives. Humans walked alongside visitors from dozens of worlds. A group of ethereal diplomats communicated with flashing feathers as they entered a museum. Two Tellurian engineers discussed plans for a new space station with human colleagues. Inside the tower, President Martinez handed Overseer Shkaln a datapad. "This is an invitation for the remaining council species to join the cooperative," she explained. "As equals, not rulers. The vote is next month." The Overseer took the pad with trembling hands. "I will present this to our leadership. I believe they will accept." Meanwhile, at the edge of the solar system, the UEF Explorer prepared for its historic journey. This massive ship would lead the first expedition beyond the galaxy's charted regions. Its crew included members from all cooperative species. Admiral Eliza Morgan, once Earth's ambassador to the Council, stood on the bridge. 10 years ago, she had delivered humanity's withdrawal notice. Now she would lead this unprecedented mission of discovery. "Admiral, all systems are ready," reported her first officer. Eliza looked around at the diverse crew working together. Humans, Saptocii Tellurians, Volari, Ythril, and even a few Corellians who had embraced the new way. 10 years ago, we stood alone. She addressed the crew. Today, we stand together not because any authority demands it, but because we choose to. That has made all the difference. As the Explorer prepared to jump to FTL, news arrived from Harmonious Prime. The last remnants of the Galactic Council had voted to dissolve. All remaining members requested admission to the cooperative. The old order was gone forever. From the turmoil of humanity's bold choice had emerged a galaxy finally fulfilling its tremendous potential. And this was just the beginning.